Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Let me share my screen with you guys. So, welcome to the virtual college exploration. These are just a few housekeeping notes. You can ask questions using the Q&A type in the chat box. Just make sure your camera and your microphones are off. To sign up for more sessions, go to www.cacrao.org, and the recording will be available shortly after the session is over. I'll let you guys take over now.
Hi, everybody. My name is Allie Glover. Thank you all for joining us. Let me just share my presentation with y'all. Welcome to our session on the best questions to ask your college admission counselor. So part of why we came up with the idea for this panel is because every single person at every single school, everything is basically because every school is not the same. And so it's really complicated to try to know what to do at every single stage. So basically, as long as you're able to ask any of these questions, then this is going to help you through the college process. Now I'm just realizing, as I'm sharing my screen, are all of you guys seeing are you seeing the presenter view or the full screen? Anyone? Okay, all right, sounds like we're good. So we'll move on and we'll introduce ourselves. Okay, seeing the presenter view. Thank you for letting me know. I thought it looked kind of strange. Let me share. Okay, let's try sharing from, let's try this. Nope, same thing. All right, well, while I go ahead and try to fix that, I will introduce myself. My name is Allie Glover. I'm an undergraduate admission counselor at Queen's University of Charlotte. We are a small school that is located in Charlotte, North Carolina. Our entire student body is just under 2,000. So we are able to have an average class size of 15. So I feel like it's kind of the best of both worlds. You are really able to get to know everyone who you're in the classroom with, but if you are to drive, it's 7 minutes up the road, then you are in the 15th largest city in the United States. And so there's so much to do there. We have 42 majors and 63 minors. Some of our more popular ones would be our nursing program, our business program. We have music therapy, interior architecture and design, history, really anything that you could want to do. And so some of those majors are going to translate into our award-winning study abroad. We have the 17th ranked program out of every single school. So 80% of our students are going to go to some other country, and part of the reason why it's so popular is because it's built into the cost of Queens. So you really are able to travel. We have an internship program also. So we have students who are interning with the Carolina Panthers, with Wells Fargo, students interning in China. So basically, even though you're at this small school, many things. We also have over 70 clubs and organizations. We are ranked fourth in our D2 sports. So if you're interested in learning more, you're able to sign up for a virtual tour at queens.edu. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to Christine.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christine Shannon. I am an admissions counselor from Winthrop University. And for those who are unfamiliar with Winthrop, we are a public university. We're located in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Our undergraduate students, for total enrollment for undergraduate students, we have about 4,700. Total enrollment altogether, we have about 5,800 students. So we're kind of on the borderline between small to medium-sized public universities. Some quick facts about Winthrop. We have about 43 undergraduate majors here, and we also have about 160 student organizations, and this also ranges for club sports, Greek life as well. Our average class size is about 21 students, so it's fairly small, and our student to professor ratio is about 13:1, so it's great for students to build relationships with our professors. All of our professors know our students, they know their names, they know how they're doing. And also we have about a 91% student placement rate within a career or graduate school after graduation within 6 months. And some of our, within our 43 undergraduate majors, some of our top programs of that are within biology, education, performing arts, psychology, and business. We also provide undergraduate research opportunities for students as early as their first year, they're able to do that. We also offer internship opportunities with every major, and also we offer study abroad opportunities, and these can be semester long, full year, or if you want to go for 2 to 3 weeks, they're offered with select classes as well. But that's a quick little bit update of Winthrop, and I'll also have my contact information at the end of this presentation, so if you have any questions, feel free to let me know.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Eric Chapman, and I'm our Assistant Director of Admissions at USC Upstate in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I'm excited to be able to join you today to tell you a little bit about questions, most common questions for admissions counselors, but just want to give you a quick overview of our campus and our university. So if you're not familiar with USC Upstate, we are located in Spartanburg, which you probably maybe are a little more familiar with the Panthers training camp that came to town. It's really popular in Spartanburg. We do have about 6,000 students on campus, so that does allow us to kind of fit in that similar range with Winthrop, and we're actually in the same athletics conference, so we are Division I and in the Big South Conference and around that medium-sized university range. So with 6,000 students, we're able to keep our student-teacher ratio about that 18:1 student-teacher ratio, which is really excellent in the classroom. I'm actually a graduate and former student athlete at USC Upstate. And that was one of my favorite things about the classes, is that I was able to form relationships, not just meeting students and making relationships with them in the classroom, but having a relationship with those teachers as well. It works really well, especially when you get ready to go to grad school and need letters of recommendation, to have strong relationships with your professors. So that's a really important thing. One thing I liked about Upstate, we're also located on a beautiful 330-acre campus with over 1 million square foot of facility space. So plenty of room for growth on campus as well, and we have beautiful facilities. One of those is actually our business school in downtown Spartanburg, which is a newer building for us on campus. It's a 60,000 square foot business facility that costs about $30 million to build, with a stock market exchange lab, a beautiful art gallery, and it's a beautiful facility if you're going to be a business major. Our top programs, with us having over 45 majors and degree programs, are going to be in nursing, business, and education. So those are our top 3 and the amount of students that we have, and those were actually all 3 ranked among public colleges of distinction individually, as well as our university. Another ranking we're excited about is the second year running as the #1 public regional college in the South by the US News and World Report. So we're really excited to have that for the second year running. And it's just a beautiful campus. So we're offering on-campus tours right now. After the program, as previously mentioned, we'll have all of our information listed. You could reach out to me about setting up a tour. We're offering some in-person options if you kind of have a little bit of that got cooped up feeling from the whole COVID and pandemic situation. Come out and see us, and we'll get you set up. And I'll go ahead and get you turned over to Travis. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Travis Wilson. I'm actually one of the admissions counselors at Mars Hill University. I actually cover Western North Carolina. Also, I cover Mecklenburg County as well as Gaston County as well. one cool thing about Mars Hill University is that we're actually 20 minutes outside of Asheville, North Carolina. So we're actually a small liberal arts school that has about 1,100 students. Our class size is typically about 15 to 18 per class. If you're thinking about a student to faculty ratio, you're looking at 11 to 1. Just like everybody else, we really want to specialize in personalized attention. So you definitely want to make sure that you are comfortable within your classes. You're more than a number. Yeah, and that's the amazing thing about it. So you can actually go up to your professors and really get that attention if you need to. Also, we have about 33 majors and 32 minors. So our popular majors that we have here at Mars Hill, it's ranging from business, music, and also musical therapy. Also, we also have psychology. That's a popular major as well. Zoology. So we're actually one of 2 schools in North Carolina that offers zoology. Another big major that we have here is nursing. So that's another big major. And the last one I would like to suggest is criminal justice. Those are our major majors that we have here on campus. Now, you're asking, what about the sports? We have about 20 different sports to choose from. We are Division II. So we have about basketball, football, lacrosse, cross country, everything except for wrestling. So if you're looking for that, it's the right place for you. And the great thing about it is that all students can go to any of those classes, go to any of those games for free. So that's the amazing thing about our campus. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. As everyone stated, our contact will be at the end of the presentation, and we will go from there. We offer virtual tours at this point in time, but we also offer in-person tours as well. So I look forward to seeing you guys then. Next.
All right. Thank you, Travis, Eric, and Christine. So as we started to do that overview, I feel like you kind of can already hear every school is so different. So what we're going to do now is basically walk you through the college admission process. And we are going to give you an idea of what types of questions you should ask at that stage. So we're going to start at the beginning. So let me go to the next slide. All right, so as you're starting your college search, what are the things you should be thinking of? So this first question is gonna seem kind of simple, but it's so important. So what is most important to me? So I actually used to be a college advisor at a high school for 3 years. And something that I found is so many students are focused on the name of a school and basically trying to find out how. So let's say that there's a student who is saying, I really want to go to Harvard. And so they're trying to find out what are the things I have to do to get into Harvard. I feel like it should actually be switched. So I think that everyone should try to find out what are the things that are important to me? What are the things that fit me, right? So when I was applying to college, I actually made a list of all the things that I wanted in a school. So I knew that I wanted a small school. I knew I wanted to be in a small town, but I knew that I wanted to be within half an hour of a larger place. And I knew I wanted to major in this thing, right? So I think it's important to have a list of those things that are important to you. And so after I had that list, I actually was able to find my perfect school, and that is a school that I had never heard of. So it's important to make sure that you're open-minded as you go through this process. Another question to think about is, my favorite subject is blank, and how can I do this at your school? So the first thing that comes to mind is thinking of what you want to be your, thinking about what your major is, but thinking about what you want could also translate to jobs, to research opportunities, and to any jobs also. So something that's important to also know is, let's say you don't know what you want to do, trying to make sure that your school has a team of people to help you find out what that is. So making sure that you're really able to do anything that you want at that institution. Another great question to ask your admission counselor is, what opportunities are there outside of the classroom? And so trying to find out, are there opportunities for research, for study abroad? Are there opportunities for clubs? Just trying to find out more of that campus culture. Another great question to ask is, what is your largest and smallest class size? So why I say largest and smallest class size is because many colleges will let you know whatever their average size is. But let's say you have a school where, so you might have a school where their average class size is 30, but some of their intro level classes might be as large as 150 or 200 kids, right? So at Queens, our average class size is 17. Our largest class, all of our classes are capped at 25. So that's the largest class that is the largest class you would have. And our smallest class size is 5. So let's say that you're like, I don't want to be in a class that is only 5 kids. Then I think that's important to know that it's important to know that on the front end. More questions to ask before you apply. What's your location like? There are colleges that are in a city. There are colleges that are on like Main Street and a cute town. And there are colleges that as soon as you step off of that campus, there is a road and there's a tree and that's it, right? So making sure that you know what that area is like. This is also a good place to ask about the culture of where you'll be in school. Is it a diverse area? Is it, if you're a student that's coming from far away, is it a place that is close to an airport? Just small things like that. And then something else to ask is, when is the best time to fill my application out? When you're starting to think, so I would say to start asking these questions during your sophomore year, your junior year. And so I don't think that you have to know every single day and when your application's due, but it's a good idea to know when you should start to fill that out. Eric is going to talk about scholarship priority dates, and so just keeping that all in mind. So I'm not seeing any questions in the chat box now, but keep on sending those in as you have them. And now we're going to move into questions to ask when you are completing your application with Travis.
Thank you, Ellie. So you're wondering, what is next? What do I need to do throughout this admissions process? Is it going to be easy? Is it going to be hard? The college process is going to be you're thinking that the college process is super difficult. The great thing about it is that we're all here to help you. All admissions counselors are here to help you throughout this whole process. So as we go through, it'll be a lot easier for you. And then even if whenever you decide, whatever college you decide to go to, we'll be able to help you out throughout this whole process. So you're wondering one great question to ask is, how much does the application cost? Obviously, with that being said, you're going to have a lot of college interest. You may want to check out Mars Hill University, or you may want to check out Queens, or you may want to check out USC Upstate, or you may want to check out Winthrop University. You want to make sure that you can be able to afford all of these application fees. And so with that being said, that's very important for you to understand so that you can know which schools that you can apply for and which school is in your budget or which school is not. Cool thing about Mars Hill is that we actually do not have an application fee. So that's the awesome thing about our university. What materials are required? Each school with that being said, I think Ali brought this up earlier, every school is different. So with that being said, every single application requires different materials. So with our school at Mars Hill University, we only require the SAT or the ACT, or as well as your transcript, your high school transcript. So with that being said, the GPA that we do take is the weighted GPA. Another great question to ask is, do you have any minimum admissions requirements? That's very important to understand, especially as you move forward throughout the admissions process. Which deadline is best for me? Early decision, early action, scholarship priority, decision release time, etc. Things of that sort. Obviously, with that being said, each school has a different deadline in which you have to turn in your application. So with that being said, it's very important for you to get a real good understanding of which schools that you can apply for and which schools in the time frame that you need to apply for, so that you can be able to move forward in the admissions process in a timely fashion. With that being said, especially if you're looking to apply with early decision, it's a great opportunity for you to be able to get in, depending on the school. So it all depends on the school and what their rules and regulations are. How do you review applications? From a holistic standpoint or quantitative review standpoint? So the schools require, does the schools look at a student's application from a full standpoint? Do we look at every single thing? Do we look at essays? Do we look at letters of recommendation? Do we look at your community service that you've been a part of? Or do you look at every single thing about you? So it all depends on the school. Or do you specifically look at the numbers? Do you specifically look at the GPA? Do you specifically look at the GPA and the SAT or ACT scores? I know a lot of times with a lot of schools, specifically this year with fall 2021, with everything that's going on with COVID, there's a lot of opportunities for test optional. So with that being said, it's very important. It's a really great question to ask, is how do you review the applications so that you know how to plan accordingly? At Mars Hill University, with that being said, we are test flexible. And the reason why I say flexible is because we do recommend that students do take their SAT or ACT in a timely fashion if they can. And the reason why I say that is for two reasons. Number one is for class placement purposes. And then number two, from an academic scholarship standpoint. So typically our academic scholarships range from $3,000 to $19,500. So that's very important for people to understand. How can I send my materials? There's various different ways to go about doing that. So you can send it via email. You can send it via the testing website. So through CFNC, you can have your counselor send that information, or you can have them mail it, or you can mail it yourself. So it's various different ways depending on the school. I know at Mars Hill, you can send it through parchment. You can send it through email. You can have your counselor send it via email. You can have your counselor send it to us as admissions counselors. So it varies. It all varies depending on the school. And the last question I want to say, a really good question to ask is, are there different admissions requirements for my major? For us, it's all the same. Our admissions requirements are all the same. So it's very important for you to understand. That's a great question to ask, because certain schools have different colleges within their university. So certain schools may have a college of education. Some schools may have a college of science. Some schools may have a college of athletic training. I'm just throwing it out there. There's various different colleges that may have different requirements from an admissions standpoint. So I definitely want to move on to the next, and we will go from there.
All right, so let's get on to some questions about financial aid. That's probably one of the biggest things. If I could go back and do differently, going back to school, I was pretty just caught up and just worried about doing athletics, and that's all I really thought about. Didn't ask about loans or financial aid process or any extra scholarships. So the slides we're going to go over next with the questions for the financial aid process are all really important questions you need to be thinking about, and go ahead and think about now while you're getting started. So we'll go ahead and pull up that slide. The first question is, who should I direct my questions to, admissions office or to financial aid? While a lot of admissions counselors like myself and the rest of the people on the panel are familiar with the financial aid questions and some of the process, most of your questions you're going to want to try to direct directly to financial aid, but each school is a little bit different. Some counselors have, some smaller schools, counselors have a broad spectrum of information, and they're trained a little bit differently than people at larger schools that are able to split between financial aid and admissions and residency and have separate offices for each one. So each school may be a little bit different. So the first question I want to ask is, who do I ask these questions to, admissions or financial aid? So each of us schools are different. So if you have questions about each of any of our schools individually, please put those into the question and answer session. We can go ahead and answer those for you before we finish today. That second question is going to be, is there a separate scholarship application? A lot of schools do have separate applications, but it's all going to be individual. So for instance, USC Upstate, we have some university scholarships that range from $2,000 to $10,000. Those specific university scholarships don't require a separate application. We evaluate you when you apply. We base you off your GPA, your class rank, and your test scores. If you qualify for any of those scholarships, you're automatically going to be awarded those if there's funds available to award those scholarships. We also have some scholarships called foundation scholarships. Now, those do require an application process that you would have to apply for, see which ones you qualify for, and then you're in running with other people for those so as well. But you would submit, actually go in and apply for the foundation scholarships. You submit a general form, and then you qualify for different ones. So and that's just specifically with Upstate, but you need to be asking that question, because when I first started at Upstate, I didn't look to see what scholarships, first off, that I could even qualify for. And if I would have, I would have realized if I would have taken the ACT over again and got 2 more points, I could have got a $2,000 scholarship, which I wouldn't have had to apply separately for. I just would have had to retake the test. So ask about how you're going to submit those applications, and know what those scholarship requirements are so you can apply for those if needed. The second one, that third question is going to be, is there a priority FAFSA/scholarship deadline? Some schools are going to have specific dates that they have to have their FAFSA by. Ours, if you were to go to our website, ours would say January the 1st of 2021 would be the FAFSA deadline. However, we admit students through rolling admissions. So each school is going to be a little bit different in those policies, but the earlier you can fill out the FAFSA, the better. So FAFSA is already opened up for the fall, or for the 2021 and 2022 academic year. You can go ahead and fill that out now. You can go ahead and put schools on there if you already know where you're going to apply to. If you don't know where you're going to apply, you can always go back and add that school later, but you can go ahead and fill that out. Students will need that FAFSA to be able to help process your financial aid. And then with scholarship deadlines, each school is going to have different dates for that as well. So like Upstate, we don't have a specific scholarship deadline for our university scholarships, but the earlier you can qualify and the earlier you apply, the better you'll be, because most scholarships are going to have limited funds available to be able to award and submit out on a scholarship budget. So once those budget's exhausted, there's no more money for some of those scholarships. So always the earlier you can do, the better. Definitely find out the deadlines, but don't do like I'm sometimes bad about doing and procrastinate and try to apply right at that deadline. Try to get to those early. The next question is, do you require financial aid forms besides the FAFSA? That's going to be a really good question to ask. A lot of financial aid offices are going to be in contact with you to request different forms, but there may be forms that they need automatically just from filling out the FAFSA. There's a lot of different stuff to go into that. So for instance, some students are requested that they have to get verified for different tax documents. So the FAFSA may specifically ask for more information, and you may need additional tax documents from your parents or guardian, or for some reason you qualify as independent, you may need to submit your own documents. So there's a lot of different things that can go into that as well. So make sure you're asking those questions about extra financial aid forms. Definitely ask how scholarships are determined and are they renewable. I kind of touched on that a little bit before about during a scholarship application, but know what what qualifications you have to meet to get those scholarships. Know if they're GPA, if they're class rank, if they're test score, if they're all three, if they require, like some of our foundation scholarships are pretty university specific, like you have to be a nursing graduate with a 3.0 GPA and have financial need. There are some scholarships out there that say you have to be redheaded and left-handed, so there's a wide variety of different qualifications you can meet for scholarships. So make sure you know what those are. Make sure you can qualify for those before you take the time to apply. Make sure that if they're renewable. Some scholarships you only get for 1 year, or they're a one-time upfront fee, and some scholarships you can get for all 4 years of school. So make sure you're paying attention to those. coming up on these last couple questions, what will the total cost be and what's included in that cost? A lot of times you should just see the tuition costs, and that's just tuition. So what's in, what is there outside of tuition? What's the cost of books going to average? What's the cost of, room and board going to average? Are there any other fees like health fees, technology fees, maintenance fees, help fees? So there are a lot of different fees that can be included in. Is a meal plan mandatory? Do I have to have one to stay on campus? Is it optional as a commuter meal plan? So there's a lot of different things to look at that can add on to cost. So don't just look at the tuition. Of course, tuition is important, but you're going to have those additional fees. So just because a school says they cost $11,700 a year, like Upstate, doesn't mean when you get your bill it couldn't be $13,000 because you've got some other things added in there. So just make sure you're checking on what other things are going to be added in for you. A really good question for anybody who may either know or is an undocumented student, make sure that you are reaching out to your school to make sure what resources are available for those students. I mean, there's tons of resources available, and a lot of times students don't realize that they can qualify for certain academic scholarships. There's certain things undocumented students can't qualify for, but there are things out there that you can qualify for. So make sure you're asking those questions to your admissions office or financial aid office, what resources are available for you as an undocumented student. And then the last question here is what opportunities for student employment are there on or near campus? A lot of universities, everyone's going to have some sort of student employment. And then on the financial aid side, they have things called work study, which are going to be able to offer you money that are usually tax-free that you're going to be able to use that will help go back to help you pay for school. So there's some programs that are done specifically through financial aid, and there are tons of opportunities for student employment. And a lot of times you can have multiple jobs on campus as a student employer. So for instance, at Upstate, we have student ambassadors that help us with tours. And we also have some of those same ambassadors may work in the police department or the front desk of the dorms, or they may work as assistants in certain departments. So they may even work directly with the chancellor or the president of the university. So there's a lot of opportunities out there to help you either have some pocket money and some money to spend, or to help you put back in and keep your cost of education down. So, as you're going through the rest of this thing, rest of our program here, if you have any questions, make sure you're putting those into those boxes so we can get those answered for you. And that'll do it for me. Thank you.
All right, and the last section of our presentation, the last section of questions that you should be asking is the questions to help make your final decision. And this happens typically in the spring semester, the final semester of your senior year of high school. And it's the time where you get to kind of further explore your school some more. I kind of like to refer to it as the fun time to learn more about your school, what's available to you. Also, you can learn more about the student resources that are available and also general life on campus. For students who maybe haven't narrowed it down to maybe one or two schools, these questions will definitely help you during that time to narrow it down so that it's easier for you to make your final decision and find the college that is right for you. But getting started with our questions, the first one you should be asking is what support services are available to students? And this can cover a wide variety of support services. It can be Office of Disability Services, counseling services, academic services, military support, and also support services for any adult students, transfer students, and senior citizens. So it depends on the type of student that you're applying under. And also asking this question is a great way to find out how the college itself provides and cares to the needs of every single type of student. And then also specifically if they provide the specific support that you need as well to thrive and succeed during your time there. The second question that you should be asking as well is, are there any student accommodations for health, academics, and dietary needs? For health, for example, especially if you have any specific health conditions, you want to ask and see if that will be catered to your needs during your time there. Also, just learning more about your college health services, what's provided to you, what's already free, and also it can be a great resource to save you a lot of money so you already know it's available to you on campus. Another example is if you have any dietary accommodations, you want to ask what's dining on campus like? What do they offer? Do they offer any accommodations for gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian options, or if you have any specific allergies, you want to ask and see if they have different options available for you. And also for academics, most colleges have academic accommodations of wide ranges. Also specifically for testing, maybe with test anxiety, you could ask and see if the college provides testing outside of the classroom. Also tutoring services, if those are available to students. If so, if they're for specific classes, how often are they provided? And if they're free as well for most students. Another question that you should be asking is, what did students do on and off campus for fun? So even if you know a current student, this would be a great question to ask them as well, because you get firsthand experience and firsthand opinions of what they do for fun. Because you want to know kind of what's available to students outside of the classroom, on campus, and off campus. Also, specifically ask what events are available to you on the weekends on campus, because you want to know if your college provides events for students who stay on campus, just so you're not working on coursework all the time, or that you're not just sitting around bored. So make sure if there's maybe an event that's always happening or any annual events on campus. And then also to see what students go to off campus, maybe for restaurants or to enjoy time outside, any outdoor activities, what's their favorite spots as well. Following that question that's similar is, how do students balance academics and social activities? That's a great question, honestly, because it gives you insight on the workload that you might undertake as a student. So you get to see kind of how students balance that coursework and then also social activities as well. Also, it gives you insight on how active the students are in clubs and organizations on campus and how they balance that out with their coursework with their classes and how the professors work with them on that too. Another question is, how does your school foster diversity and inclusion on campus? So this question you want to ask to find out, how does your college help students first off transition into college life, but also provide outlets for students for wide ranges to feel welcome, to feel safe, and to feel heard on campus. And then also another question, do you have a residency requirement? So most colleges may have a residency requirement, so it's a great question to ask to see if you are required to stay on campus for a certain amount of years, when you can move off campus if you want to live off campus. Also to see if maybe there's a specific residence hall that students, freshman year students, sophomore year students are most than likely going to be staying in. For example, with Winthrop, we have a 2-year living requirement for freshman year students. So they stay on campus their first 2 years if they live outside of a 50-mile radius. So it could be a radius requirement as well, depending on where you're located. And another question to ask is, how easy is it to access professors outside of the classroom? I would rank this as probably one of the top 10 questions to ask during this time period, because you want to know how easy is it to access your professors if you have a quick question outside of the classroom, maybe on the weekend or something. You want to know if you can access your professor by email, if they're more willing to respond to you on the weekends. Also, if professors at your college hold office hours or something equivalent, which is a time set aside with the professors that they can't work on any of their work. They're there for students to drop in, ask any questions that they need help with. Also, if they just want to stop by and talk, it's kind of the students' time to stop by and ask their professors anything they need. So definitely asking if your professors are accessible outside of the classroom is a good question. And finally, would it be possible to connect with a current student? Some universities and colleges may offer this as a program through admissions, also just a general program as well, to see if you can connect with a student who has the same academic interests as you, so you can ask them questions about that program, gain insight, learn a little bit more to help you decide on a major. Also just to see what their take is on student activities, student organizations, life on campus, living on campus, what their take is on campus food, maybe local restaurants as well. So it's a great question to ask. And for example, at Winthrop, we have a new program called Chat with an Eagle. So students can register online to sign up to chat with a current student, and they can ask them any questions that they want about, you know, what's the food like on campus? What are some good activities that you like to be involved in? And they get to talk with an actual student as well. But hopefully asking these questions will give you a good overview of what your campus has, where your college has more to offer, and it will help you narrow down your decision so that you can make your final decision in that springtime as well. But with that being said, we'll leave the last few minutes open to questions. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to put it in the chat and we will answer them for you.
All right, thank you, Christine. Okay, I'm seeing a question from Trinity. Will you be able to see this? Oh, where will you be able to see this recording? So CACRAO is posting them on their website 1 week from today. If I'm not mistaken, you should get an email if you were registered also, but someone can come and answer that for us at the end. Great question. All right. Ooh, very good question. A hardball from Chloe. What is something you wish you did differently when you underwent the college application process? And that's from each of us. So I can start similar to Eric. So I was interested in athletics. I was interested in running track. I was focused on athletic scholarships. And so that's really what I was looking at. And I actually ended up breaking my foot pretty badly at the end of my senior year. So all the schools I was looking into, I was no longer able to go to that school. And so I realized like, oh, I should actually focus on the actual school as a whole. And so I was really able to start to look into more things that interested me, and I wish that I'd done that sooner. So I would say to just not funnel in on sports or funnel in on the major or funnel in on the city, just kind of try to pay attention to each piece.
And I'll go ahead and kind of put my intake on that question as well. For me, I was more focused on the kind of student activity aspect of it. I wanted to know what was available to me for organizations, kind of joining clubs and organizations on campus, what student life was like. So I probably would say that I wish I would have focused more on the financial aid prospect of it, to focus more on scholarships and making sure that I qualified for the scholarships for specific ones and worked a little bit more harder to get some better scholarships. So I would say probably focus more on that than the student activities part of it during a certain part of the year.
I would actually agree with Christine from the financial aid standpoint. Is one thing, was a few things actually I wish I could have done differently. One thing I wish I could have been more involved with the financial aid piece, helping my parents out and filling out more scholarships and things of that sort. Now, before the admissions process, I wish I would have taken advantage of more college fairs. So participating in more college fairs to broaden out to bring more of an opportunity to go to more colleges. And another thing I wish I would have taken advantage of is take advantage of participating in more student organizations on campus. I was so focused on sports. I was so focused on playing intramural basketball to the point where I was not focused on being a part of clubs and organizations. Because with that being said, it not only looks good for a resume, but it also looks good. It also helps from a social standpoint. You're able to meet long-lasting friends by being involved with more and more clubs and organizations. So those are the three things that I wish I would have changed.
Eric, I don't want to cut you off, but I want to make sure that we're able to answer this other question. If I know what RDS is, that's the Residency Determination Service. So for every state has their own way of finding out if you're an in-state or if you're an out-of-state student. And so you can type in the Residency Determination Service and it'll ask you and ask you a few questions there. And then you'll be given an RDS number, and then you're able to send that to all of your colleges. So I know we are just about to wrap up now. It's 5:45. So I'm going to pull up the last slide that has our contact info. Please feel free to write this down. We are here to help you. We understand that this can be kind of overwhelming. So please ask us whenever you have any question. Nothing is too big or too small. I know we have a few questions that we weren't able to answer, but CACRAO is going to email us those, and then we'll be able to so we will be able to follow up and answer those questions for you. But thank you guys so much for spending your Monday night here. And we look forward to hopefully talking with you more through basically through this whole entire application process.
Thank you guys so much for a great session. Like they said, that's their contact information. If you have any questions, please get in contact with them. Thank you guys all.